So when you look at this, my question to you is, it's not about whether or not something like a crisis like this would happen, because it will. My question to you is, crisis has happened. My question to you is whether or not you have the right leadership and the right systems in place so that you can walk through it and get to the other side completely intact. Hello and welcome back. I wanted to give you a question that we're going to start off this episode with. A question that I want you to think about, like really truly think about it. Because so much comes at our way as business comes our way as business owners, as leaders, as entrepreneurs, that is just hard. It's crisis and it's hard. It's chaos, it's struggles, it's obstacles. So my question to you is, what was a crisis that you had to navigate that really showed you about really what it meant to run your business? What really showed you about running your business and maybe even running it in a different way? So I was reminded of this story, and someone encouraged me to talk about it because it's actually in my upcoming book. I was reminded of this story. And if you hear me tell it live, and I'll try and make it as funny as when I do it and I'm actually physically explaining the story, because I talk with my hands and I'm very animated when I tell this story, and you'll understand why as I tell it. But this story, it's one of the many stories that taught me about what it truly, truly takes to run a business, what it truly takes to run a business in the face of crisis, an obstacle, something that came your way when you were absolutely least expecting it. So it was Black Friday. Picture this. It's Black Friday, just like the Golden Girls. And if you know anything about Black Friday is the busiest shopping and dining day of the year. It's during the holidays. People are in from out of town, and it's Thanksgiving. So it's a shorter amount of time that people are together. So they go out, they spend, there's all kinds of promotions going on at stores. You get the drift, right? Everybody's familiar with Black Friday. Well, for small businesses, it is one of the biggest weekends, because you have Black Friday, then you have Small Business Saturday. So particularly when you're in a town where there's a ton of foot traffic and there's a ton of people coming in, and there's people coming in because the town is known for being the Christmas city, it's the worst day to have something go wrong, right? So it's Black Friday, and we had hosted Thanksgiving that year. And my husband and I, we had a lot of people over, a lot of family. There were friends that came over. And on Black Friday, I said, you know what, we're just going to sit. We're just going to we got to finish cleaning up. We got to finish getting everything together. And I just want to sit down and have a glass of wine later on this afternoon. And just I don't want to think. I don't want to think about anything. Well, I said that. And about 5 minutes later, I get a phone call. Remind you, it's Black Friday, busiest shopping day and dining day of the year. Well, I get a phone call, and it was, Theresa, it's raining in the basement. We don't know what to do. There's water all over. It's brown water. I don't know what to do. It smells, and we're so busy. It's packed. And I knew we were busy because I was looking at the numbers. And I thought to myself, oh my gosh. And I said, okay, I'll be up. And I live an hour away. So I said to my husband, I got to go up and figure this. I don't know what's going on, but I got to go up there. And so I drive up an hour away, and I'm sitting there thinking, what the heck am I going to run into? What am I going to run into? So I find myself walking into the basement of a building that has a restaurant and a retail store in it. And it's busy, and the restaurant is packed with people, and the store is packed with people, and the city is packed with people. And I am walking into the basement and I literally start to see water pouring out from underneath this door, and it is brown. And I'm sitting there thinking to myself, oh my God, what am I going to do? Like, I don't know what this is. And I just thought, like, how am I going to navigate? I don't know what this is. I don't know if it's water. I don't know if it's just, if it's brown water, is it what I think it is? Oh my gosh. And as I'm panicking, and people are going up and down the stairs and they're freaking out because I just see water coming out, and I see it heading towards inventory. And I'm sitting there thinking, oh my God, like, I can't let it destroy the inventory. I can't let it, like, I got to do something. So I start picking up inventory. And also I turn around, and out of the corner of my eye, I see somebody coming down the stairs. And it's one of the managers from the restaurant. And he is literally in a garbage bag, and he has kitchen gloves on, and he has a spatula, and he's like, Tate, we can do this. We got this. He's like, I Googled it, and I think we can fix it. I Googled how to fix a pipe. And literally it was a sewage pipe. And I'm a germaphobe. And I was like, oh my gosh, what are we going to do? What are we going to do? Because I'm looking at this water, and we literally opened the door, and I'm looking at this water in the basement because there's different sections of the basement. And I'm just looking at that main area, and I'm thinking, holy crap, we got to clean this up. We got to clean this up, and I got to figure this out. And at the time, I was actually the COO of the businesses, and I had to call the owner, who was away in Mexico, and say to him, here's the problem, the owner of the building, here's the problem. And like, I got to get this fixed. And, one of the managers is downstairs with me, and here's what I'm going to do. And I kind of just laid out the plan, because in that moment when I was panicking, I also started assessing the situation. And I started looking around, and I started saying, okay, what do we need to do first, second, third? I know I got to call the plumber, got to call the remediation company. And it is a weekend, and it is a holiday, so it's going to be harder to get somebody. And fortunately, we phoned a friend and got somebody there, but it took a while. Started cleaning up the inventory, and then, like I said, calling the owner and saying, here's what needs to happen, and here's what we need to do, and is there anything else that you want me to do? But needless to say, we ended up getting everything. We did not fix the pipe, by the way, and I did throw my sneakers out, by the way. Drove home barefoot in the snow. But in that moment, I looked at everything and said, hey, here's number 1, 2, 3, 4. Here are the things that we need to do. And we got everything cleaned up, and we got it navigated, and we got it figured out. And of course, insurance needed to be called, a claim needed to be filed. All of these things, I set a plan and said, okay, I need manager from the restaurant, you need to do this. And then the people upstairs in the store, this is what you need to do. And I'll tell you what, that was like one of those moments that showed me about running, like a different way about looking at really what it takes to run a business. So I wanted to tell this story because people, anytime, again, normally when I tell it, I'm super animated. But since we're sitting here and I'm talking into a microphone, it's harder to be animated, but it's okay. Because here's the thing. With that story, most people probably would have run from it. Most people that were in that building, the store managers, that's why they called me, the store manager and the assistant manager. And then everybody was like panicking about it, and nobody knew what to do. They were just freaking out. But again, that's why they called me. And I took a look at it and said, okay, what's at stake here? What do we need? Like, what's at stake? Like, what resources do I have to help me to mediate the situation or mitigate the situation? But also, what's at stake here? There was no way I was going to lose inventory. No way. There was no way that I was going to let anybody upstairs find out what was going on. And there was no way that I was going to let anything happen to the people that were in the building. So in that moment, it was, what are the things that we need to do to get to the other side of this? What do we need to walk through to get to the other side of this? So the truth is every business, I don't care what kind of business you're in, every business owner probably has some version of a story like this. Every business owner, whether it's a pipe bursting, whether it's refrigeration going down, whether it's people quitting, whether it's, something happens, any kind of external impact or external circumstances. And the truth is that no matter how much we want something to go smoothly, 99.99% of the time, it's not going to go the way that we plan it. It's not going to go the way that we expect it, right? See, it might even go better, worse, whatever. But truly, the only thing that we have control over is the effort that we put into something. When something breaks or something happens, when something happens with people or something, we don't have control over that. But what we have control over is how we face that crisis in the moment as it's happening. And we have a choice. We can either run from it or we can lean into it. Well, in that moment, I chose to lean into it. So like I said, every business owner has a version of the story, of their own story like this, where things break down, things fall apart at the absolute worst time. I mean, if we think about everything that happened with COVID, a lot of businesses were gearing up for St. Patrick's Day and everything started to shut down. And, here we are, like big dining, big, going out night, and everything's shutting down. So it's like we don't have control over these external circumstances that come. But what we do have control over is what we put into place so that we can walk through it and get to the other side. So when you look at this, my question to you is, it's not about whether or not something like a crisis like this would happen, because it will. My question to you is, crises happen. My question to you is whether or not you have the right leadership and the right systems in place so that you can walk through it and get to the other side completely intact. So I wanted to walk you through four things that I call them systems or leadership that you need to have in place so that you can get through situations like this, stories like this. So the first one is your presence. Your presence. This is how you show up, not just in everyday life. I mean, that's important too, but also what kind of leadership do you have? What kind of leadership are you displaying in your business? Not in those moments when everything's going peachy keen, but in those moments when things are starting to fall apart, in those crisis moments when you're not really sure exactly how you're going to get through it, but you look at the situation and you don't run from it, you don't retreat from it, you actually lean into it. You actually say, okay, we're going to figure this out. Just like I did in that moment. I looked around and I was like, we got this. We're going to figure it out. It's raining. Okay, we got to stop the water. So we're going to figure this out. So it's your presence. Do you have that leadership presence where people know that no matter what happens, you're going to be there for them? Just like I got the phone call, Theresa, it's raining. We don't know what to do. We're freaking out because the building is packed. They called the person who knew, who could figure it out, who knew, okay, I don't really have the answer. I don't really know exactly what's happening, but we're going to figure it out. And I'm going to do what it takes to make sure that it gets rectified. So it's your presence. Are you showing up as that leader that says, we got this? Or are you showing up as that leader that just starts to panic and doesn't really handle it and expects someone else to handle it? So that's the first thing, is your presence. The second one is people. Do you have the right people in place? So that business owner, I was a partner of his, and he had the right people in place that can handle navigating challenges and obstacles and crises. That again, we don't know necessarily the steps that need to happen, but we're going to figure it out. And if we don't know what the steps are, we have the right resources and we can think strategically to say, I need to call this person in. I need to call this person in. This is what needs to happen so that we can get to the other side of it, right? And not get stuck in the mud, but actually walk through it. Pour water on it, make it easier to walk through. So since we're talking about water, brown water. So having the right people in place so that if you're not around as a business owner, you have the right leadership team. You have the right leadership team that can lead people when it's good, when everybody's moving in the right direction and everything's going great, but also the right leadership team that's in place that says, this isn't working so well. So we need to actually pivot and do some course corrections so that we can continue to move in the right direction. If you don't have those people in place, and those people have to have good presence as well. If you don't have those people in place, you can't be everywhere all the time in it, constantly in every single decision. That's when things become a bottleneck, right? So when you do have the right people in place and you have the right structure in place, situations can get handled a lot faster and a lot better. Also, when you have the right people in place, you have that diversity of thinking so that if I'm approaching a situation one way, just like with the pipe bursting, the manager came downstairs and he had an idea of how we were going to fix the pipe and how we were going to clean up stuff. And I looked at it and said, okay, here's my idea as to how we're going to handle this situation. And we kind of came together on it. We didn't fix it ourselves like he wanted to do. And we didn't handle it the way that he wanted to, but we took each other's ideas and solutions that we came up with and incorporated them together. And guess what? The situation got handled a lot faster versus just relying on one person to handle absolutely everything that was happening and running around like a chicken with their head cut off versus someone who is approaching the situation with intention. And that's where having the right presence and the right people in place, that's where you can approach things with the right intention. And when you approach things with the right intention, there's a lot more. That's how you can start to bring calm into the chaos and not more chaos into the chaos, right? Number 3 is the right processes in place. And when I say processes, I mean how we do things. So the fact that both businesses had the right operational processes in place so that should a crisis happen, as we had, things could continue to move forward. All we needed to do was just shift a couple people around so that the manager could come downstairs to help me. But the operations in the business and the way the business was operating on the busiest day of the year didn't skip a beat because we had those processes in place so that, and that's why processes exist. Number 1, it's to make an impact with teaching people and educating people, but it's also to give some structure into a business so that should you need to pivot quickly, you can. If you don't have that structure, it doesn't allow for that freedom to exist, that freedom to be creative, but also that freedom to handle major problems when they come up, right? So having the right processes in place so that the business can continue. During COVID, even during my regular work with people, we talk about business continuity. We talk about, even there's an element of this in succession planning. When you're looking at things and you're saying, okay, do we have the right processes in place so the business can continue should an emergency happen? Or should I've navigated fires, floods, roofs blowing off. How can the business continue when something happens? Even during COVID, when everything was shut down, I work with people who have brick and mortar businesses. Their business relies on people coming through their door. So how can we continue the business when people aren't allowed to come through your door anymore, right? So how can your business continue should crises arise. That is having the right processes in place, processes that will continue to let your business run, be successful, generate revenue, generate income, have jobs, no matter what is happening. And the last one is, and this is a big one, and this is the biggest one that I learned, is perseverance. Perseverance in the face of crisis and challenge and chaos. And I think this is where radical resilience comes in. So if you've heard me talk about radical resilience, it's that ability to get back up, to really get back up when you've been kicked down or when you're walking through poop water. So having that perseverance, and it's something that I've learned time and time and time again, that when someone tells you no, that when you're rejected, and when you have to face something that you really don't want to have to face, hard conversations, challenges in your business, stuff isn't working right, stuff is falling apart, stuff is breaking, having that perseverance to say, and that perseverance that kicks into that sixth gear that says, all right, get back up. If you have to take your shoes off and walk through barefoot, go for it, because you can always wash your feet. You can always throw your sneakers out, whatever it is, get back up, and you got to keep going, because there is something bigger at stake here. It might be the vision of the business. It might be the people. For me, it was the people in that moment, and making sure that they were protected, making sure that the product in the building was protected, but also making sure that the business itself was protected, because we have focused so much time, energy, effort, dedication into growing the businesses. I didn't want anything to happen to it, right? Especially on this big day. So, not that I was preventing anything from going wrong. I was trying to navigate what had gone wrong so that we could start to right the ship and keep everybody moving in the right direction. Keep the business going so that we could continue serving customers, so that people could come in and get their shift in, so that people could continue to get paid. When you don't have that perseverance, and in that moment when you're looking at it and you just crumble, and I've seen leaders do this, they just crumble, or they want to blame this person, that person, whatever, and completely shut down. How is that going to help anybody? How is that going to preserve your vision? How is that going to preserve what you've built, right? So I've seen leaders who retreat and look at it and say, well, I'm just going to give up. I'm just going to throw my hands up in the air, because they don't have the right presence, because they don't have the right people, and because they don't have the right processes, and they don't have the ability to persevere in the face of crisis, which is so important, especially now. I mean, we've navigated so much as a society, as a country, as a world. So you never know what's going to come your way. Everything, so much stuff gets thrown at us on a continuous basis. So if we don't have the ability to say, you know what, this is coming at me to teach me something, to show me something, to show me a better way, to push me in a different direction, to show me what I'm truly made of, and to show me how important and how much I absolutely love a hot shower after doing that. But we learn to persevere. We learn to persevere, and we figure out what we're truly made of, and we figure out what it really takes to be a great leader, what it really takes to build your business. And it's not just theory or fluff or, some of these other things that people talk about. This is like real life stuff. This is like in the trenches, real experience, what it really takes to run your business and make it successful no matter what impact is coming your way. So the four things that you need is you need to have presence. You need to have that presence in place, that leadership ability to show up even when it gets hard, when it gets really hard. And those are the moments that matter. When you show up when it gets hard, when you show up in those critical moments and you keep going and you show people, look, I don't have all the answers, but we're going to figure this out, and I'm going to figure it out, and I'll do what it takes to figure it out. That speaks volumes versus just being a cheerleader for everybody. Number two, having the right people in place, people that can navigate stuff, that can think critically, that can think creatively, not in the good, I mean, not only in the good moments, but in these challenging moments. They don't look at it and continue to just focus on the problem. They focus on finding the solution. Number three, having the right processes in place. That structure that can make an impact in the good times, but that can make an impact when you need it the most, when things are critical, when things have gone south, when things are breaking all around you. Those processes keep things intact. It's like a frame. It's like the human body with like your skeleton system. Like that is your frame that holds everything together, that keeps you upright, right? That's what processes do. That's what helps to keep, that's that continuity that you build into the business when stuff happens. Number four, that perseverance, that tapping into that radical resilience and that sixth gear that says, get the frick up, get up, keep going, keep moving because you have to. That radical resilience that, you know what, I got kicked down and I might like panic for a moment, or I might have a good cry, or I might get super frustrated for a moment, but you have the ability to shift very quickly, to shift and go into, all right, we're going to figure this out. Shift into that strategic brain, shift into that critical thinking brain, shift into that creative solution brain. That's what perseverance teaches you. So I hope that this helped you. And I'm going to leave you with this one question. What's the crisis that taught you the most about running your business? That taught you the most about really what you were made of as a business owner? And I also want to just say, if all of this really resonated with you and you're sitting there looking at your business and you're sitting there thinking to yourself, I'm not so sure I have the right presence, the right people, the right processes, and perseverance in the face of crisis in my business already. I'm not sure, but I want to dig deeper into this. If this really resonated with you, I encourage you to go to theresacantley.com/quiz and take the assessment there that will show you really where you might have some gaps in your business, really where you need to focus a little bit more on one of these four things. So theresacantley.com/quiz and take that assessment. I'll take you 90 seconds. I think you can handle 90 seconds, right? All right. Have a great rest of your week, and I look forward to seeing you soon.